Hey Drew, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Brian?
Not too bad. I'm excited to be here for another episode, of course.
Yeah, me too.
So, welcome back to the Nostalgia Blast podcast after dark. We're here to talk about some more nostalgic topics for you. And Drew, what do we got today?
So the other day, I was reading a news article, and it was about the James Webb Telescope. I don't know if that's the official name, but
I think it is.
I was reading this article, and they were talking about how they've been able to see like so much into the deep, parts of the universe that they're starting to like rethink things that they thought they knew, like about the Big Bang Theory, which is amazing. That technology that we have available now.
Yeah, they're putting the old Hubble telescope that we were so proud of for so long, just like to shame. I've seen some comparison images, and it's just so much more information in the James Webb photos compared to. I mean, not to discount the Hubble for what it was amazing. It led to a lot of learning and scientific discovery. But yeah, those James Webb images are something else.
But it's just like they thought galaxies didn't form as much in the early days of the universe, and they're finding that that's completely wrong. And they thought a lot of our galaxies were just like more irregular shaped galaxies, and they're finding that there's a lot more disc-shaped galaxies like our own, like 10% more in the whole universe, which is just like a huge number. Yeah.
I saw the other day they took a photo like from the farthest place that ever has been like taken a photo of. It's like 13 million or billion light years away or something.
Yeah, they said it's like 250 million years before or after the Big Bang. And this scientist who found it, he named it after his daughter. Can't remember what it was, but
that's like super early with when we're talking about space, right?
We're talking about like 14 billion years for the start of the galaxy. So like, that's like right at the beginning.
Yeah, that's incredible though. We're just like so used to this sort of thing now, where it's like people weren't even really that. I don't know. I mean, like scientists and everything and space enthusiasts were really excited about it, but I don't know. I just feel like. I don't know. I feel like the general public's love of space is kind of in a weird place.
Dwindling or something.
I don't know. It's just like it doesn't seem like it's I don't know, like it's almost becoming more commonplace. Maybe
it's not as amazing anymore. It's just kind of like people like before. I think there was like this whole like religion thing where people like held on to religion for all of their beliefs and stuff like that. And then as soon as we started exploring space and finding like there's something beyond this place, and people's like minds were blown, but now it's just like commonplace. We're like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, I think part of it maybe is the all the like space companies now that do launches all the time, where it's like it's not like this rare thing where the space shuttle's going up.
Everybody watch it, like turn it on in your elementary school.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that I watched one of those early like reusable rocket launches that I think SpaceX did, where the boosters come back down and land.
It's exhilarating.
It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen live. Yeah. Like I was just, it was like moving in a way. Like I don't know, it felt like something you would see in a movie, and then here it is, like actually happening in real life.
Yeah, I think one of the good things that they've done as a company is like when they put the live cameras inside of their like their command center or whatever, and you just see everybody going nuts when it's successful, and you're just like you're pumped too because you see everybody celebrating like this feat that they've just accomplished. But
and with the internet and everything, it's so much easier to see streams of like I'm sure there's a ton more happening than I'm aware of because I just see things here and there. But actual people like into space and like keep up on everything. I'm sure there's like all kinds of cool things that they get to watch now, like streaming just itself. Think of how different that is compared to what we were used to growing up. Like there was the TV, and then maybe like towards the later years of our youth, it was maybe some like crappy like MPEG videos or something on the internet. And now we're just like have 4K high resolution streaming in real time from anywhere on the planet.
Yeah. So this whole thing, just like with the James Webb Telescope and stuff, just like how mind-boggling it is to me now as an adult, just kind of got me thinking of like what things do we have around now, like technology-wise, that if we were kids in the 90s would have just like blown our minds away. Like, does anything immediately come to mind for you?
I mean, I guess it's probably a little bit of a like easy cop out, but Obviously, smartphones are something that would have been absolutely incredible back
Mm-hmm.
then, when our only access to the internet that we knew of was, dial-up modems and slow loading screens. And if there was a JPEG on the page, forget about it. And now we literally have like an entire world's worth of knowledge at our fingertips at all times.
Well, just think of like what a game changer it was, and like how amazing it was when texting became a thing, and you're like, I can instant message like anyone now, like from wherever I am.
Yeah, my phone can do more than play Snake and be
Mm-hmm.
kept used for emergency calls. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like you didn't have to worry about roaming or anything like that. You could
Heck, I
be in.
remember those like plans you'd have to be on, like, oh,
Yeah.
free nights and weekends, family circle plan, whatever. It was like
Mm-hmm.
just crazy stuff.
And then when like T9 became a thing, and you could like type text so much faster on the old like digital phone where it had all of the numbers
Yeah,
that
one
were
through
your
nine,
only
the
buttons.
keypad.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever did T9 texting. I
Really?
still don't even really know that I know what it is. I
Oh, it was elite.
I was so fast at just typing on, like, if like it was like there'd be like three letters and you'd have to go like,
Yeah.
if you on the third one you hit it three times.
Everybody thought they were fast until they tried T9 and they're like, "Oh my god, this is so much better."
I don't even know what it was. I honestly
So,
don't.
with T9, you would
Was it
hit.
predictive or
Yeah, it was
something?
a predictive thing. So you would like say like the letter was on 1 and then 3 and then 4. It would guess like what letter you meant to or what word you meant to type based off of the most common words. And half the time it was it, but if it wasn't, you could hit this other button and it would immediately just cycle to the next word, next most common word.
Oh god, I don't know. I don't think my brain works fast enough for that to have been. That must have been why I never got good at it,
But
because
if you used it enough, just like you memorize like the order of the letters on the numbers, you started to memorize the order of the most common words, and you would like type something in. You're like, I know that's the or something.
oh
I need the
god,
other word.
I must have. Maybe it was just I didn't text. I didn't have enough friends or something. I didn't text enough in high school to even bother. Because
Yeah.
I mean, because it wasn't that long before they were like, one of my earlier phones actually had like a full keyboard, like a
Mm-hmm.
QWERTY keyboard on it. Um, so I just like, I didn't even need to worry about T9. I just switched
Mm-hmm.
right over. But yeah, just the instant communication is another thing. Like, if you wanted to talk to your friend when we were kids, you had to like call their house. Their parents would usually answer. You'd have to like do this whole thing. Can I talk to whoever you're
Yeah.
calling? And it was just like, it's kind of a blessing and a curse, because back in the 90s, if somebody wasn't at home and you called them, that was it. You didn't know. You had no way of contacting them.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like people get upset if you send a text and they don't reply within 5 minutes. Or, well, why didn't you reply to me?
Yeah. And back then you had to like memorize your friends' numbers because you're like, oh, if I want to call so and so tonight, I better like memorize their number so we can do something later after school or whatever. And it's just like nowadays everybody has a contacts book in their phone. They never have to memorize a phone
Yeah,
number again.
Nobody remembers any phone numbers.
Yeah.
And maybe I know like a couple of I think I know my parents and my like immediate families off the top of my head. If I had to remember them, I could.
I still remember like my grandparents' landline phone number. I remember like some of my friends' phone numbers growing up just because I used to have to call them so much. And it's just like I'll probably never have to memorize another phone number again, but like I still remember those ones. And I even remember like when we switched from we used to dial only 7 digits, and then it was like, oh, now you got to dial all 10, and it was like, oh,
Oh yeah,
I got to
God,
remember 3 more
I
digits
totally
now.
forgot about that. Or sometimes you even had to like hit a one in front,
Mm-hmm.
depending on like how far away the person lived or something like that.
Yeah,
Like the zip codes and everything. Or no, area codes.
yeah.
I was trying to think if I remembered your phone number as a kid, but I don't think we ever really had to call each other because our parents were friends, so they usually just figured things out. I don't remember ever
Yeah.
calling your house and saying, "Is Drew there? Can I talk to him?"
I used to remember your phone number, but I can't remember it anymore.
It's the same one now.
I still remember like my one grandpa's phone number, and sometimes I confuse like both of my grandparents' phone numbers, and I still know them.
Yeah, I still remember my grandma's, even though I haven't called it in 10 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the instant communication was a big difference. I mean, we kind of got a taste of it with like chat rooms and instant messaging. That was like a big revelation.
Mm-hmm.
But to have it like portable and on you at all time. I don't know. It's like a good thing and a bad thing because I don't know. People just get weird about it. If you like shut your phone off or go and do not disturb, they get all like bent out of shape. If I don't know, they can't reach you.
Yeah, I think it's like one of those pieces of technology that like if we thought we would have had those capabilities back in the 90s, like being able to talk to our friends at any time like that, we would have just been like, "Oh my god, like why can't we have that right now?" But now that it's around, like it's almost like we're annoyed by it sometimes where you're just like, I just don't want to text right now. Like I
Mm.
always complain to my mom, like she'll send me a text like, "How are you?" And I'm like, I can't text you how I
Mhm.
am. Call me if you want to know how I'm doing." Like that sort of
Texting
thing.
it, the texting answer to that is fine or good. Like you're not. That's not a
Yeah.
conversation.
But imagine like in the 90s growing up or something, like if you were older, like going to college or whatever, and you're like, man, it would be like if you're separated from your family and you miss your family, and you're like, I just want to talk to my family. And like you have to share a payphone or something like
Yeah,
that with the dorm floor or something like that to call your parents.
yeah, I've seen that in movies.
Yeah.
But let's instead of just like this normal stuff, everybody talks about this kind of technology. What about like things that when we were kids we would have been really excited, like a toy or a gaming type of thing, like
Well,
that we would have been excited because we had pretty cool stuff, but compared to today, maybe it wasn't so cool.
well, can I bring up something that's not even a toy that I would have been? I think we both would have been amazed with when we were kids.
Yeah,
So like I recently bought a iRobot vacuum cleaner for my
okay, like a
house.
Roomba.
Yeah, Roomba. And like I know it's not a toy, but it's just like this automated thing that just moves around your house and it like bumps into walls and it seems sentient where it knows where it's going and stuff like that. Like it's amazing where you'll see it like going towards a wall and right before it gets to the wall, it slows down because it knows it's there and it'll like lightly bump the wall and then turn. And you're like, holy crap, the thing like I'm amazed by it, but then like I have a 2-year old son and he'll just stand right in front of it and it'll bump into him. And we named our Roomba Luigi, and it'll bump into him and my son will look down at him, he'll go, "No, Luigi, no." And it's just like I would have been so amazed by that when
Yeah,
I was a
maybe
kid.
even been scared of it or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe you should kind of still be scared of it because it's probably just mapping your house for Amazon to, I don't
Yeah.
know, do something.
Yeah, that
They got
that's
all that
some
info
recent
now.
recent news is that Amazon bought iRobot. So if you have a Roomba, Amazon has your home's layout now, which is a
I'm
little
gonna assume they're
crazy.
just gonna use it to send you like targeted furniture ads or
Oh
something.
yeah,
But I don't know. It's just a weird
they're like,
thing.
oh, this person's got 1,200 square feet. They got some room for furniture.
Yeah, let's hit them with some ads.
Yeah,
Do Roombas have microphones? I don't know. They probably shouldn't, but who knows? Everything
yeah. Who
seems to
knows?
have one these days.
Anyways, so are there any like toy technology things that come to mind immediately for you?
Maybe not so much toy, but like I feel like virtual reality was an idea in the 90s. Like it wasn't
Hmm.
something that we had never heard of, but now it's like this thing that actually exists and people have it in their house and they like wear these headsets and play these games and I don't know, that feels like it feels like one of those things where it's like a flying car. Like they've talked
Yeah.
about it for so long and it's like, well, when the hell are we actually going to get these things? And virtual reality, it feels like that threshold was crossed. Like we actually have these things now.
And you see movies like Ready Player One, where it's supposed to be like this super futuristic thing where they're using virtual reality to play these video games, and you're like, we have that now, and it's like, it's not that exciting. But I have to say, like the one thing where like '90s me would have been like yelling at now me, like the fact that I don't own VR, even though like I still love playing video games and stuff like that. But like you haven't really done VR, but I have.
I've tried I got like a free, what's the Google thing?
The I know what you're talking about. I
The
can't remember what it's called.
Plex or I don't yeah,
Cardboard or whatever thing.
no, but well, I mean kind of like that, but better. It's
Yeah.
like an actual thing and I like put my phone in it, like so I've tried like a very basic version of it. I think
Yeah.
I played a game where I had to toss fish at dolphin or I don't know. It was
Okay.
hey that's the extent. Yeah.
Yeah. I've played some of it like on a Vive or whatever I think is what it's called.
Yeah, HTC.
Yeah, and it's just like it doesn't feel like it's done yet. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when 3D movies came up and it was like the next big thing and then it just faded out into nothing. I
Yeah.
kind of feel like VR is still there where it's like it hasn't reached its final iteration where it's really good. And But like 90s me would have been like just blown away by
Oh
it.
yeah.
I'd be like, you idiot. Like it has amazing first off, graphics have come a long way
Yeah,
since
I mean,
then.
let's not even go there because that's just like I still remember the day I got an HD TV and an HDMI cord for the first time, and I plugged my PlayStation 3 into it.
Yeah.
And I remember I had a buddy of mine over. This was like maybe early high school, so like early 2000s. I don't know when the PS3 came out, somewhere in that general vicinity of time. Um, and we turned on, it looked the same. We're like, oh, well, that's not that great.
Hmm.
But then we found out you had to go in like the settings and like change to like high definition. And that change, we were just like blown away, and just like even just like the menu of PlayStation 3 was just so amazing to look at.
Yeah. Did you like think for a minute like, oh, this isn't gonna make any difference or whatever?
Yeah, that was like because it looked exactly the same because it
Hmm.
wasn't like up. The monitor wasn't like, or the TV wasn't like turned to the right setting yet. So we were just like so bummed. And then when it actually worked, it was like, wow, this is like the next level. This is the next step in this stuff.
Yeah. And just kind of like on a bigger picture thing, I think it's kind of funny how like we have such amazing technology these days. We're like, we're talking about this deep space telescope that can see galaxies that are 13 billion light years away. We have virtual reality where you can just like insert your consciousness into another world and you can instantly communicate with your friends and your loved ones wherever they're at. But it's like nostalgia is like such a powerful thing where like even though we have all of these great technologies and stuff, we always pine for the old technologies that we have. Like, I mean, in our recording studio right now, we have an old Nintendo sitting above us, and it's like I'd love to just get that out and just
Yeah,
start playing it right now. Or like, I know you're looking at restoring like a Game Boy, and like, we want to do stuff like that. We want to play with the old technology that we had when we were kids.
yeah. It's maybe the ultimate step in that would be to use a virtual reality headset to like replicate like a 90s bedroom and
Hmm.
like spend all of our time in virtual reality in the past, but also in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's exactly like it feels like when you're living in the advancement of technology, it
Hmm.
doesn't seem quite as amazing. But when you look at it over like a decade long time span, like from or at this point 30-year time span to the 90s, which I hate saying that the 90s was 10 years ago. I don't care what anybody says. It becomes a lot more impressive when you're comparing something over 30 years.
Yeah. And to me, it's just sort of seems like you need to take a moment every once in a while to just kind of like stop and appreciate the technology that is around you because there's just like such great technological advancements that just keep coming up. And, it's good to hold nostalgia for the technology that we had growing up and stuff, but you should also appreciate what you have now.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to go back and use older technology, and kind of gives you like that perspective of, oh yeah, this was cool, but what we got now is way better.
Hmm.
Maybe I shouldn't just use it for doom scrolling Reddit or whatever other useless thing, streaming the latest Netflix show. It's
Yeah.
it's amazing technology, and maybe we take it for granted sometimes just because it becomes so commonplace in our lives.
I mean, like, one thing that we both have been working on and off, really, we both work on books, that we're writing every once in a while.
Yeah,
You're more consistent at it than I am, and it's just like, think how much easier it is that we can do something like that. That's such a like good creative outlet on our laptops and stuff like that
yeah.
versus like the old days where you might have had to write it out by hand or you had to use a
Save it on a
typewriter.
floppy disk.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean that would have been even an advancement over pen and paper,
we're not all George R. R. Martin, who I think famously refuses to write on anything resembling modern technology. But yeah,
Yeah,
we got the cloud now too, so you can be writing on your phone, writing on your laptop. It's just so seamless, and
yeah,
yeah, it's the differences are striking, but there's a lot of similarities still, and it's just things are easier now and better, and we can appreciate those, but still look back and really appreciate the 90s technology too.
yeah. And I think if anything, if you look back at the old technologies that you had when you were a kid, what it does for you is it does make you appreciate what you have now, but like you also get that like nostalgia boost, just from like
Yeah,
playing with that. again.
Yeah. So yeah, that's sort of what we got for you today in this episode of the Nostalgia Blast podcast After Dark. Tune in next week for another episode. If that's our schedule, I'm not sure, but yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Later, everybody.